We have in our midst a wonderful resource called CPC. I've gotten to know the professionals and the support staff here, and I can tell you they're second to none. They have enriched my life immensely, as they have so many others.
To all the wonderful people at CPC High Point School, my son Zach attended your school for 3 years, starting at age 7, and then he was mainstreamed back to public school. I'm happy to say that he graduated high school last June. He began attending community college in September, majoring in pre-pharmacy. I credit your school with correcting his behavioral issues and allowing him to successfully reach these achievements and milestones. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for all your school has done for my family.
Today is a day of momentous achievement. Today is the day that the students from the High Point School graduating class of 2014 will experience a miraculous metamorphosis from high school students to adults ready to take on the real world and the challenges it will provide for us. We stand before you not as children, but as a powerful force that, one by one, has overcome the many obstacles that have come and gone. We would like to thank you, faculty and parents alike, with all our hearts for aiding us in this journey, however difficult it was. I was not the courageous young man you see before you at this moment. In fact, my years of solitude before had made me fearful to speak my mind or take action, but that was until I transferred here. It was in High Point that my walls I spent so long to fortify finally broke down, and with it, everyone finally saw the real Doug, a kind, respectful, laid-back, and talented gentleman.
My name is Pat Geis. Our family moved to Monmouth County 22 years ago this spring, and that fall a neighbor came over and asked if I would like to bake some cookies for the CPC Holiday Boutique. She was a very active volunteer, and I was happy to do something I love to do and to get involved with our new community. And 20-some years later, it's been my pleasure to work with so many wonderful CPC staff members and volunteers who've helped in the community in so many ways. And also to have met many parents of children who have been helped by so many CPC programs in various ways. Well, Monmouth County is a wonderful place to live, and it's going to grow, continue to grow and diversify in the next 10 years, but its residents are still going to have many needs, which are met by organizations that address such issues as hunger, housing, and health care. And now is the time to support these organizations and to get more volunteers involved that help to meet these needs in the future.
Rick Mazza and I started Travel Savers in about 45 years ago, and we have been working together all that time. In any way, if Travel Savers can help, they'll do it.
In the many charities that we support, such as CPC, Behavioral Health Systems, as well as global, national, local, that we do, it's important that businesses give back to their communities. I think every organization has a responsibility to do that, and that starts at home. That starts in your family, and we do a lot of that here.
Now with autism, we all wish that we could find out the reason and where it all stems from and get a cure for it, that's for sure. And maybe we won't have to do this anymore. Maybe we'll be just giving for the sake of giving, but not for these reasons. They've stepped up to the plate at Christmas time, and Jim dressed as Santa, and they dressed as elves, and they went to the hospitals. And
yeah, playing Santa Claus at that hospital was difficult. It was difficult. Most of these kids were at this particular hospital, had all sorts of psychological issues, and for the most part, their parents just kind of forgot about it. So yeah, it broke your heart. I asked this one kid what he'd like for Christmas, and he said to see his mom.
It's important. It's important that companies do give back, that they support one another, and they support their local communities. It's a responsibility I believe every organization does have.
A recommendation would be find a charity that you're passionate about. And when you jump in with both feet. You get everybody involved. Again, it's not just a handful of people. It's getting your company involved, getting them behind it, getting them to stand behind it, to believe in it, and to assist. But you've got to find something that's close to your heart, like we did.
You gotta have the passion. Our hearts are there. It's something that we enjoy doing. We do it with full heart. We don't do it for this. We really don't do it for recognition. You gotta give back. When God's been good to you, you've gotta give back. That's for sure.
Good evening, I'm Jeff Sadwith, and I've had the great privilege of serving as the chair of CPC's Board of Trustees. I arrived in Monmouth County in 1976 and quickly became aware of the great physical charms of this area, and then started to understand the strong and stable social service community that exists here. It made me want to volunteer, and I did, for many nonprofits. My involvement with CPC began when I needed treatment for my son who had severe learning disabilities. I got to know a bit about CPC's programs and resources and thought that someday I'd like to be more involved. You know, there's a song from the Broadway musical South Pacific called "You've Got to Be Taught," and that song was, the topic of that song was discrimination. However, I believe that an important part of a child's education should be making them aware of the values of volunteering and charitable giving. And I was fortunate to have parents who did both in Plainfield, where I grew up, and then here in Monmouth County. They were excellent role models. Mental health issues are not the fault of the patient and not completely under his or her control. I encourage all of you who are not already involved to explore further the issue of mental health and learn more about CPC and what it has done to aid people suffering in this community. I ask you all to be a part of us.